Hey, this is Rolf Versluis, Block Ops, and I'm hosting the August 22nd, 2018 ZenCash bi-weekly update. It's going to be the last ZenCash bi-weekly update. We have some news today, and to start the intro on that, I'm going to introduce Rob Viglione, FinPump.
Thank you, Rolf. I'm also very excited to say this is our very last ZenCash presentation. So the big picture today, I'm actually only going to do the quick intro here and then hand it over for the really big news. So we're going to get right into the brand reveal up front because, you know, we have, I mean, this is the really grand finale of what we're discussing today and the grand finale of months of really hard work. And once that's done, then we'll get back to the usual programming where we'll do our BD updates, project updates, and talk a little bit about the node system, and then wrap up with the regional activity as usual. But not to keep you guys on the edge of your seats for much longer, why don't I just pass it right over to Rosario and have her dive right into the new brand expansion.
All right, well, thank you very much, Rob, and hello, everyone. Today is such an exciting day. I am it's been an incredible time here, just culminating all the research discussions, the deliberations that we've had so far on our brand and what our brand represents to our community and how to present it in the best light possible. As many of you know, a branding effort, and as you can imagine, is very, very significant. And not to continue teasing, because I know everybody wants to know the new name, the new logo, the new tagline. But I'd like to frame the brand reveal to you to give you a bit of context and background. So today I'll go over our trigger points of what made us go through a brand revision and the process that we followed and some of the objectives that we had in mind. Then I'll pass it on to some of the reps that made this happen for the rebrand. You'll hear from our branding agency. They'll present the results of their research. And then our creative manager, Lucy, will do the honors to present the new brand. All right, hope everybody's ready. All right, let's get this party started. Next slide, please. So we've had some questions on why have we had to expand our brand or rebrand. We've seen some of these questions on Discord and Telegram channels and our Twitter accounts. And my answer is simple. We've simply outgrown our name. ZenCash only represents a cryptocurrency, and it doesn't represent where we're headed in both the technology side and our social innovations that we are trying to achieve. So we're headed to become a platform. And it's important that our stakeholders, both new and current ones, see us in that light. So as we've traveled around the world and going to different cities in the conference circuit and speaking to hundreds of people at those conferences in those different cities, we've quickly realized that our name was holding us back a bit, and that that triggered us to start a community poll. And we found that the results of the poll were consistent with what we were hearing at the conference. So when people hear the word cash, they think currency. And that's just simply not all inclusive of what ZenCash was even shortly after launch. We had our second product quickly after we launched our ZenChat, our messenger system. So the boxes that you see here on screen are just some of the extras from the poll. Obviously, we had a lot more, but there was a theme in place, right? The theme was, as one person mentioned here, that cash means currency. Another person highlighted there was a common thread that nobody liked the word cash, right? So people were attracted to the Zen piece and being this kind of a peaceful, friendly, a very determined project, but the cash was just always off in the eyes of some of the community or many of the community members. Another source of confusion, even at conferences, was our naming and our close proximity to Zcash. And we're really proud of our heritage, and we don't want to necessarily run away from that. We admire the Zcash community, but we're headed a slightly different direction. And we're just not only a currency. The currency is one of our apps, but we're looking at developing a lot more. So as I mentioned before, we have ZenChat, and we are looking at the development of future side chains and additional applications and other services. So our vision is to continue expanding. So there's much more in our future than currency, although our currency is active and working and excellent source of privacy. But so that was kind of the conclusion of why we are expanding. And of course, people associate the word Z, or the letter Z, I apologize, with privacy technology, with ZK snarks. So all this made us realize that we needed a name change. And changing the brand identity, of course, is not an easy task. So our process had to follow a certain methodology to be successful. And this is where we are today, culminating that process. Next slide, please. All right, so once we realized that a brand revision was necessary, we did some high-level research, and we quickly made a decision to bring an external agency, a professional branding agency that does brand work all the time. And brand creation is a specialized effort, so we do believe in specialization. So we did our best to find the branding agency that best resonated with us. And Jonathan from our team researched many agencies. And while we were in New York at Consensus, we met with a few of those agencies, and Brandtuitive, which is our branding agency, was one of them. We found that Brandtuitive and their approach best resonated with us being a community-focused project. So many of the other branding agencies were focused on just interviewing the leadership team, but as a community project, it was very important to us to have that voice of the community in this brand creation. So we created a sort of a task force internally with the team, and we worked side by side with Brandtuitive to execute this project, this brand expansion project. So as mentioned before, we held a community poll that aided to identify candidates for one-on-one interviews. And the Brandtuitive held these interviews with different stakeholder groups because they wanted a wide representation of our constituents. So we had operators, node operators, miners, community members, of course, the leadership team and select team members, even former regulators, because we want to learn what concerns regulators and be best suited for when that time comes. And of course, our institutional investors that we have. So the survey helped us identify those one-on-one candidates, and the one-on-one candidates went into very, very detailed of the brand. And all of those important elements provided direct community voice. So to allow Brandtuitive to present to us the best brand possible. So along with that, if many community members may recall, there was a Reddit post and a spreadsheet floating around with several brand names from the community, and all those inputs were provided to Brandtuitive. It was very important to us that Brandtuitive understood the pulse of the community and develop a brand that was in line with our ethos in our community. So with this branding process, we have a new messaging platform, which I love. And we also have a strategic advantages that were developed as a result of competitor analysis. And that's really important because it's going to help us target our messaging and marketing much, much better. So when we met Brandtuitive, we gave them some very specific objectives. Next slide, please. And the objectives were simple but challenging, I would say. So I challenged Brandtuitive to create a brand that would reflect our technology accomplishments and be recognized as a leader in the space. We are calling it a brand expansion. We've mentioned this in a post in several blogs, because we're broadening our brand. We're not moving past it. We're broadening our brand, and we want to be a recognized leader in the space. We also, because we focus on usability, and that's the route that we're taking, we want to be accepted by mainstream. So that was one of the objectives is to be more accepted by the mainstream audience and more palatable to the mainstream audience. And of course, maintaining our credibility is very important to us. So we're proud of our heritage and our accomplishments, but we've had a lot of accomplishments on our own, and we wanted to stand alone as a project. So along with all that, it's very important to continue our growth, not only from the project perspective, but also from the perspective of attracting the best talent possible. So with that, we wanted to be an attractive project that best talent all over the world would want to come and contribute to the project. Of course, want to be attractive for investors. So that was another objective. And all of those objectives are wrapped around the reality that we need to be prepared for regulators. We're not interested in black markets. We're advocates for consumer privacy and wanted our brand to be positioned in a way to be prepared for that. And without much further ado, I'd like to introduce to Janine Devar.
Well, thank
Hi,
you,
Janine.
Rosario. Hi, thank you so much. It's our pleasure to be on the call this week. Just a little bit about Brandtuitive. We've been a branding and marketing agency in New York City since 2010. And some of our clients include Nespresso, which is the single-serve coffee company, Shopkeep, which is a point-of-sale tech company, and several nonprofit organizations, to name a few. We have absolutely loved working with the team on this brand expansion, primarily because it's such an inspiring, visionary project with extremely passionate, determined team and community. And we feel very fortunate to be a part of this work. You know, and one thing that we say all the time is that we don't create brands, we reveal them. And we say that because a powerful brand is not one that is dreamt up or created by a handful of people because they think it sounds cool. Instead, our job is to reveal the truth of the brand and the greatness that already exists so that it can be harnessed in the way you communicate, what you name yourself, what you look like, what you sound like. And part of what this brand is and what you're going to see today is a reflection of your support and passion. But before we started to work on the development of the name, logo, and tagline, there was a lot of research that went into the work, as Rosario just mentioned. And I'm going to share some of the most powerful things that we learned during that research. And I think most of you will recognize at least some of these. And what's important is when these things are taken as a whole, this is what differentiates this project and makes it unique in the world. Next slide, please. Here's a list of some of the things that really bubbled up to the surface that make this project so unique. Of course, it's a privacy project with a noble vision to help people around the world. We learned that the project includes a currency, but it's also a platform on which life-changing applications can and will be built. We learned that this project is visionary and honors its roadmap to fulfill on that vision. We learned that community members feel like this is a project that they can get behind, believe in. We learned that this is a project that community members feel they can belong to, that the camaraderie in this community is unlike any other project. And we learned that this project is forward-thinking and has a long, prosperous future ahead of it. So with these learnings as the foundation, ZenCash was renamed, re-logoed, and re-taglined. Lucy, if you would do the honors.
Thank you, Janine. Hi, everyone. My name is Lucy Wang. I'm the Marketing Creative Manager. This is the moment we have all been waiting for, and I hope you're ready. I will try not to go too long because I tend to get very talkative when I get emotional and talk about something I'm passionate about. Okay, I won't tease you any longer. So now, with great pleasure and honor, I present you our new brand. Next slide, please. We are now Horizen. What you see on the screen is our new name, Horizen, our new logo, and our new tagline, bringing privacy to life. The name Horizen reflects that this project is forward-thinking, that there's virtually no end to what can be built upon this platform. In other words, the sky's the limit. The unique spelling provides a note to our heritage and implies that in the often tumultuous world of crypto, with Horizen, there's always some tranquility. The logo gives a feeling of visionary nature of the project and our global presence. And the tagline clearly puts the project in a privacy space where connoting that the platform provides an opportunity for privacy to enhance people's lives. Next slide, please. Okay, so why the logo? Our brand is our most important intellectual property. It represents our project identity, enhances our culture, and extends our value proposition. So both Rosario and Janine have just given the background information in great depth on discovering of our brand. Now I would like to share some highlights of our logo making journey and touch on the creative aspect of our new brand. So while logo or brand mark is just a small subset of branding, it still remains the centerpiece of the branding schemes. Our logo is our project's first point of contact with the outside world. Great logo design requires a complex mixture of design skills, creative concept, and skillful application. So I am very proud to say that our logo is created by someone who is deeply passionate about this project. And like all of you who are listening right now, she is from our very own community. Her name is Lindsay Rains. She is a very talented professional graphic designer with 6 years of experience. She has been a long-time community member. She has been in our, she is also our in-house senior designer, senior graphic designer. And I also want to highlight our team. It's definitely a team effort. I mean, it truly took a village, a long and very emotional process to get to the brand marker we all feel very proud of. Our new logo is inspired by the vision of this project, our team, and our community. So we really listened to different voices and learned more about ourselves. And we allowed these discoveries guide us during this creative journey. So every element of our logo is meaningful and it speaks for this project we all love. So next, I will touch on just some of the main objectives we had in mind when creating the logo. So our logo is to shape, so the goal is to shape a differentiated logo identity that is memorable and admired through our logo, colors, typography, and messages. So some of the objectives includes that we want to have a logo that represents our values and qualities, something that represents our technology. And then also we need to have a distinct logo mark that stands out and memorable. And then also we needed to be aesthetically attractive and versatile, something look great and then also provides a continuity throughout our marketing effort. Next slide, please. All right, so, well, as I mentioned just now, we want a logo mark or an icon that is very distinctive and stands out from the crowds, even when it's very, very small. So we asked our community before this question, how did you first become aware of ZenCash? And we got many, many different answers. And some of the answers told us that it was actually the logo. So, just as I said, the first point of contact, as I mentioned before, that caught their attention and led them to us. So we have been working very hard to stand out in many ways. And with our new brand, we are starting strong with our logo mark. And then our currency and ticker symbol will remain Zen. So we will not lose that strong connection and trust we have built around our key product. Next slide, please. All right. So these are what the icon will look like for our apps on different operating systems. And again, they look really sharp. And then they stand out and then they're memorable. So one of the many things I love about this logo is that it can live on its own without any words next to it. And this is a very strong feature for the logo to have. Next slide, please. All right, here we see a very beautiful display of our business essentials with our new brand. And I hope you will see them in real life sometime in the future. So that means you will need to come to some of the events and meetups we constantly do all over the world. And you can see, very beautiful all the marketing assets that we have. Next slide, please. All right, and here's another example of what our white paper or any other documentation can look with our new brand. And then as you can see here, we can really, be really creative with the shapes and the colors. And then, they do look very, very, very sharp. And then it's the continuity that I mentioned before. And next slide, please. Wow. Okay. All right. We can't have a cool logo and everything without cool, without any cool swag. So this is a small collection of what will be available in our store. I can't wait for our community to have them. And our new store will be launched this week. So stay tuned. And I think this is my last slide. Thank you so much, everyone. Back to Rosario.
Well, thank you very much, Lucy, for doing those honors, and very, very excited to have the brand finally revealed, and I hope everybody loves it. Some of the things I said to our internal team was change is hard, and whenever you have change, you're going to feel uncomfortable. But we hope that the brand that we presented today, Horizen, is aligned with our objectives, and that you love it and feel proud to be a Horizen community member. Next slide, please. And along with that, we've been doing a lot of promotions to have our brand reveal. So this has been a great participation in our live stream. And a special thanks to Jonathan for doing that promotion and getting the word out on this effect. So we had a giveaway for some swag that ended today. So the participants that are the winner competition will be provided in a blog post. And we'll ask you to take out fun pictures once you receive the swag so we could promote it in our social media channels. So next slide, please. Our following promotion that is upcoming, it's not out yet, we will be giving away 5 Ledger Nano S, and to help promote our brand and also to help keep your Zen safe offline. So we are in the early stages of our brand, so we need to nurture our brand in this way. So this is a call out to our community to help us promote our new brand and embrace Horizen. Next slide, please. And we'll know that there's going to be additional questions from our community. We're going to have a live Q&A here during the live stream, but there may be some additional questions that may occur to you later, or questions from listeners that are not participating live. So we are going to have an AMA on Horizen, which is our new subreddit. So I invite you to visit and subscribe to Horizen, the subreddit, and ask us anything about the brand. So please, please, if you have any questions, whether it's right now or later about the brand, we are all ears. Next slide, please. And to summarize, and Lucy did a beautiful job presenting, and this was a very intensive effort from the entire team, the task force that I mentioned before. So I'd like to thank the team members that put this slide together, our new brand, and presented it in our best light. So Brandtuitive, Janine, thank you. Thank you guys, Todd, for everything that you've done and presenting us. Lucy, your direction was amazing. And Jonathan, of course, Lindsay for creating the logo, and Marco, of course, for getting us through the rebrand. So I'd also like to thank our community for believing in this project. Many of you recognized the promise of the project from the very beginning, and you were early supporters and visionary in the sense. So your support and engagement are what allows Horizen to become what it is today. So your belief contributed to our growth, and that's what contributed to our name change. And that is it for me. So just a quick moment so you could absorb our brand. And that is it for me. Thank you, Rob.
You know, Rosario, I did have some inspiring stuff that I wanted to say, but honestly, the way you put that was perfect. And, you know, the thank you to the team and the community for making this happen cannot be understated. This was a massive, massive project. It was time constrained and ridiculously stressful on the back end. So what you're seeing here, this clean, cool, well thought out, you know, stylish new brand, is something that culminated from an enormous amount of work. So you gave a thank you to the amazing Brandtuitive team, Lucy, Jonathan, Lindsay, Marco, of course, our infrastructure team, our engineering team, BD, everyone contributed so hard to this, but we have to say a special thank you to Rosario. Rosario really killed it in managing this entire process with her team and just making sure that everything was put together, you know, under ridiculous constraints in terms of timing. So thank you so much, Rosario, and thank you so much to the team and the community, all of our major stakeholders for making this possible. So that said, and we've absorbed this new shock. I would say a very good shock. Why don't we move on to our regularly scheduled programming? And we're going to keep the Q&A today at the end of this specific to the brand expansion. And we'll table the normal other topics for Q&A for another time, either for next live stream or we'll take it to some of our other channels. So let's move to the next slide, please, and we can just quickly get through the usual stuff. Some good updates that we have since the teams, besides putting an enormous amount of work into this brand expansion, the team's just been kind of full charge ahead, and all of our other business lines as well, and engineering. So we'll kick off the community member highlight as usual here. So there's a couple guys that I know personally that we wanted to mention. So Andre and Vano, you guys, thank you so much for your contributions. Andre is a Zen media enthusiast. So I actually met Andre for the first time in Dubai, where he did an interview with me, and then he interviewed Luca in Italy, and then David in Ukraine. So he's just been a great supporter in helping get our message out with nice video content. So thank you very much. And Vano, I had the pleasure of meeting when I was in Tbilisi, Georgia. So Vano is an entrepreneur, but also I think he's founded and runs the Blockchain Association of Georgia. So he's just a great, very knowledgeable Zen enthusiast from the beginning, who's been helping us regionally in the CIS market, and he's actually now formally joined our team working with David. So that's really good news, and just love the contributions that he's been making. And then Yi in the Chinese market as a Zen evangelist and supporter, just a very active member in the Chinese community, super fan, as Lucy says. So he's been doing a great job writing articles, making infographics for the project. So thank you very much, guys, for all of your support. This project would not be where we are without the very engaged community that we have. So next slide, please. Let's move on to the BD stuff. I think we've got an echo with Luca. Let's mute that. Okay. Okay, so the next slide, the first BD slide we have here is very happy to announce a new exchange integration with IDAX. If you don't recognize the domain extension .mn, it's because they're out of Mongolia. So this is actually a very large Asian exchange, number 32 on CoinMarketCap. So Rowan tells me they're just awesome people to work with, extremely enthusiastic and helpful. So it's been a pleasure getting Zen integrated on the exchange. We have 3 new trading pairs. So the Zen BTC, Zen ETH, and then a Zen USDT trading pair. So we have the exchange is user-friendly from the international perspective, with the exchange languages in China, Korean, and English. And they're very good and proficient on the security. And for us, it's just a really nice partner from the volume. So Mongolia is actually a very big mining marketplace. So there's a really good amount of trading volume that takes place in Mongolia. So it's really nice for us to have this geographic diversification and the added liquidity that the exchange listing brings us. Next slide, please. Okay, so the Horizen 2018 priorities. So we always have top 5 priorities here to discuss. And number 1 is, and this will always be number 1, is maintaining the current system and the operational effectiveness of our products. So that's something that we're still working on. It's ongoing. Now, number 2 is implementation of protection against 51% attacks. So this is the code that we've been talking about to make sure that we don't have another vulnerability like we had a couple months ago with one of our exchange partners defrauded through a 51% attack. So we had a very innovative solution to an amendment to the consensus rules, essentially the longest chain rule, to penalize delayed block reporting. Really happy to announce that the code is done, and the code has actually been running on our test net with Zen Blockchain Foundation nodes thus far. So it's actually on testnet. We just haven't been advertising that, just operating on our own nodes. And we've been doing some rigorous testing on it. And we're going to be releasing the code publicly on Monday. So to the public testnet. So other people on testnet can publicly start trying to stress the new consensus rules as much as possible and see if there's any issues with the new modifications. Then, something that's been very prominent, within the mind of the community is what are we going to do about ASIC resistance? So once we're through here with the 51% attack mitigation code, which we're at the final leg of this race here to bring this to market, to production. We're going to be rotating engineering resources to evaluate ASIC resistance. So I'll show you in the table that we have of ongoing projects where we are exactly in that process, but we've already started. Clearly, it's there's other solutions already on the market that people are running, so it's not like this is something that should take very long once we commit to a particular solution. But our big thing is being rigorous and making sure that we understand full system impacts and not just rushing into something. Priority number 4 now, and this is the big thing for us because we talk about trying to be a platform. So the reality is we still have work to do to expand our ability to be a platform. Now, really, what does a platform mean, right? What's the difference between a cryptocurrency and a platform? So there's, we have a currency right now. We're operating very efficiently as a currency. We've been working really hard to make it ubiquitous and easy to use, easy to get, make it just a very good user experience for people. And there's a lot of dimensions to this. But as we pivot to what we want to be in the broader vision here, that our future for the platform, this means we have to have more scripting, like more functions within our code that allow us to do different things, to host different applications, and to do smart contracting, for instance. So our solution to this is we're tackling it via sidechain. So this is work that's ongoing. That's a top priority for us. It's within our top 5. It's very high priority, but it's just in terms of the timing for these things, the sequence. And then number 5 is off-chain challenge. So this goes towards usability of our network. So right now, the way that we do secure and supernode tracking and hardware requirements enforcement is through an on-chain challenge. Essentially, we force nodes to respond to a challenge with the Z address. So basically, to do a snark computation. So what we're exploring, and we have some good research on now for implementation, is an off-chain challenge. So rather than bogging down the entire network with these challenges, we've been exploring methods to do off-chain challenges to still verify the same stuff, make sure that the network's operating efficiently. Okay, so the next slide, please. This is something that these tables are something that we brought in to the biweeklies the last time, and I think it's a very elegant way of just summarizing what we're working on, because what we realize is that as we're growing rapidly and there's all these new community members joining these calls, they may not have the same heritage of understanding what we're working on, and maybe they're not checking out our Trello board to see what's in active development. So we thought we'd summarize compactly with the project name, description, which business area within the organization is working on it, what the priority it has, and importantly, what's the progress? So the estimate to complete, the ETC. This is really important, and this is something that, if you focus on from week to week, this should be changing if there's active work going on in that area, and then an estimated release time. So we do this in quarters, and then a little description of where we are on it. So you can see the projects here haven't changed from last time. So the 51% attack code, I've already mentioned in the priority stuff. So the implementation's done. It's already on testnet, just with our foundation nodes testing it. So that will be released. The code will be released to the public next week, and public testnet or testing with the public on our testnet can then commence in earnest. ASIC resistance, so we've already started the research. We know solutions that are out there. So we've already looked at feasibility of the parameter change. It's looking good. We're progressing on our sidechain work, working with IOHK on that. Treasury work, again, we mentioned this previously. So we've had the protocol or the prototype delivery from IOHK. And right now, this particular project is pending the sidechain work because we're looking to implement the treasury system on our first sidechain. Off-chain challenge, which I've described already, is progressing. We're at 60% through on that. And the next slide, please, number 2 of 2 of the table. So difficulty algorithm research. Now, I want to clarify a potential misnomer here. We're not talking about mining algorithm difficulty. So this is maybe poorly named. We're talking about the penalty algorithm for how we're going to penalize delayed block reporting in the 51% attack mitigation code. So that's what we're talking about here. We didn't want to say that we've already come up with a mining algorithm that's 100% complete. So we just want to make a very clear distinction on that one. It turns out that the original proposal, the white paper that we released, the difficulty or the block penalty algorithm that we initially proposed turned out to be optimal. So that was really good news for us. So transaction throughput scaling research, this is our DAG implementation and just our on-chain improvements that we've been working on. Scaling study, or I just blended the two there, scaling study with the DAG research. Node tracker refinements, we're constantly going through refinement and improvements. And we have a proposal portal that Gustavo and the product UX team have been working on. So that will be a nice, user-friendly way for the community to become more engaged and have access to community resources before we actually implement the full on-chain voting system with our DAO. So between now and when DAO goes live, we just wanted to have a nice GUI or a way for people to be active and participate and actually have access to resources. So we have another wallet, Zen Vault, that we've been working on. No surprise there. We're looking at the coding for that to be completed by the end of this month, which is coming up very soon. And then testing begins in September. And Tracer T, so that was 100% we mentioned last time in terms of their firmware integration. And so that's it for the main engineering and product tasks and projects that we're working on. So I want to say, guys, we have a Trello board that's public. So anything you see here that you want to track real time or have a conversation about. So we have multiple communication channels. The Trello board is more of a kind of a bulletin between the core team and the public, so that you can see what we're working on and what the thoughts are and the progress within the team. So next slide, please. So just a node count update. So actually we have more nodes now. So it's kind of strange, as of course we're in the growth phase right now, given that we just recently implemented the changes to the block rewards that increase the economic productivity of running a node, right? So we've been in a very large growth phase. So right now we actually have 16,000 registered secure nodes and over 1,900 supernodes. Okay, so there's some really good growth there. So we have some other updates here. So the secure node migration to the new provider was actually postponed because we had so much work going on the infrastructure side for this brand expansion. So that will resume now that we're done with this. And tracking server updates will be deployed before the migration. Okay, so as always, we have Q&A available on Discord, and if you're coming across any issues yourself, running your own nodes, and any issues with potential like downtimes that you don't believe are correct, or any compensation, please submit a support ticket. So we have a specialized team answering those as well, and accumulating credits and dispersing them. So moving along to our country lead updates. So we always have a lot going on around the world. Why don't we pass off to the first one to David to discuss the Russian Eastern European market.
Yes, sir, I'm here. Well, hello, Horizen gangs and fans. Some really amazing, updates today. So I'll try to not to take a lot of your time because you already probably heard a lot and very important stuff that was going on over the past month or two. So last time, I think I was in travels, and Alex was all over Russia itself and gave you a few updates about the Russia. This time, I have updates from Georgia and Ukraine. First of all, we onboarded Vano, as Rob announced. He was one of our distinguished community members, and I'm very, very happy with acquiring. Well, not acquiring is not the best word, but having joined a new human capital, because there's nothing more precious and important than having a new person, especially somebody who's very well qualified, join the team. So as Rob mentioned, he's not just random Zen enthusiast. Even though we love everybody, he has a deep expertise. He's in blockchain technology, as he mentioned. He actually is one of the two founders of a Blockchain Association Georgia, and he's running it currently. He also has quite a bit of skills in IT in general. Works for some of the government agencies maintaining their servers, but of course is a great cryptocurrency, blockchain, and Horizen enthusiast. He already started Facebook of Georgia. Well, no more ZenCash. It's Horizen. Actually, should be changed by now. In Georgian, that's a whole separate language and alphabet for 5 million people there. And he is already planning. It's actually scheduled on September 13th. The meetup in Georgia about Horizen and presenting it to the local blockchain community there. Updates from Ukraine. I was personally there a couple of weeks ago. Actually met the founder of the Blockchain Association Ukraine there. Really nice people. I also had a fortune of meeting the CEO of one of the main exchanges in the region. And for the confidentiality part, I cannot disclose which one, but we're planning to start Horizen in a second Eastern European exchange. If you remember, we already have Bittrex books that's active and running. So that should be coming over the next month or so. And last but not the least, if you recognize Andrei from this playing, GIF file, he's one of the other distinguished community members who interviewed me. He's basically wherever our team members show up in the on the Eastern Hemisphere, he shows up there and does an interview. That's basically has been the pattern so far. So if anybody happens to be there on that side, just call up Andrei and he'll probably come by, take an interview from you. Anyway, I think that's about it for now. I'll pass on to the next one.
And the next one would be Luca, giving us an Italian market update.
Rob, I think Luca had a microphone issue earlier.
I just unmuted him. Let's see. Luca, are you there? Maybe not. Maybe this. Okay. No worries. Cool. All right. Well, I'll cover the slide if. Oh, yeah. There you are, Luca. Excellent. Please go ahead.
Well, you might be able to hear Luca, but through some of the strangeness of Discord, he's not making it through onto my version of the server. Luca, you want to try once again? Okay. Your name just showed up right here. And if not, then we can come back to you later, or Rob can go over your slide. Let's see. I'm going to unmute you. Go. Hey, Luca.
Yeah. Hi, this is Luca Cermelli from the Italian market. Sorry for the microphone issues today. I hope you are enjoying the beautiful presentation of today anyway. So the last 2 weeks have been very interesting from my side, as I had many opportunities to get in touch with different groups of investors, both in Italy, in Milan, as well as in the UK, in London, which is, by the way, the 5th Italian city by number of inhabitants, and the financial twin city of Milan, since Milan and London are part of the same stock exchange group, so which is the biggest in Europe. The last 14 days, as I was saying, have been very interesting, productive, despite the negative market trend. There are still many investors out there, and the good thing which I'm seeing in this bear market, generally speaking, is that investors are not buying everything like it was happening some months ago, but are now doing their own due diligence for every project, which is, I believe, a great news for us, because we have so much good stuff to show, and every time I pitch Horizen, people realize how undervalued we are. Also, I've been meeting with a lot of university students, as well as some university professors, both in Italy and in Denmark. The new university courses are about to start, so I'm organizing a series of meetings with university students interested in knowing more about protecting their privacy, how the blockchain works, why this all is important, and so on. And another objective is being invited by professors to speak in front of the entire classes. So since I studied economics in Italy first and in Denmark after, I started by contacting the professors that I knew, and hopefully we will have some opportunities to pitch Horizen in the Italian academic space. After that, I've been spending most of my time building up useful databases for to better penetrate the Italian market, and basically preparing the road of Horizen's business development in Italy for the last quarter of 2018. So I started creating the database of the most important Italian crypto websites, blogs, magazines, YouTubers, and so on, to then create also the database of the most important crypto fairs, events, congresses, meetups. This, of course, may look as a pretty basic and boring activity, but it's also the way any business in any industry does its business development activities in a professional way. So something that needs to be done, and which will definitely help in the future. Lastly, I've started getting some contacts also with TV and radio journalists. Would be great to be invited for an interview and gain immediate massive exposure. So I will continue spending some time on that as well. I would like to close this slide with my best congratulations to Rosario and her team, which really did an amazing and professional job. So thank you, Rosario. Thank you, Lucy, Jonathan, Lindsay, Marco, and Brent Tweetive, of course. Back to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Luca. And let's pass it off to Arno for the German and African market updates, or actually Central Europe and Africa. Hey, Arno, go ahead.
Hi. I just can continue what Luca was already mentioning. Amazing job. I really love the name. And the logo is perfect. I don't know how much people already noticed that actually the logo looks like a person who is folding the arms above the head together. But nevertheless, I have also some small updates. And let me check. You can hear me, I hope. I start with the French market. And there is just like Manon is the new female country representative in our team, and she's going into Paris. There's a big meetup. Go there, join her, say hello to her, and you will get latest news from Horizen. And then from the German market, I just mentioned that Jonas is going to the blockchain summit. You also, if you're from Asia or if you're a business professional and you're attending this conference, please try to reach Jonas and have a nice talk with him. And then in the Dutch market, we have Jos, who is now looking for some crypto enthusiasts in Amsterdam, because we are planning a meetup there. So if you're interested in privacy and in our new technology, which is like covered now with the name Horizen, please contact him as well. And last but not least, I have the honor to announce that Ayara is going to it's kind of an entrepreneur conference in Berlin, but it's specifically for the African market. And it's like, I think it's mostly about startups and like how to enter the e-commerce and how to be successful. So it's very interesting, and I'm happy to have him here. So that's all from my side. And I think now it's time for the following slides. Thanks.
Thank you, Arno. And yes, if we could move to the next slide. So basically, just want to do a Q&A and focus the Q&A today on any questions or, that you wanted to bring up about the brand expansion, about Horizen. So Rolf and I will table the usual Q&A until next time. And we have Rosario, we have Janine, we have Jonathan, Lucy, and the amazing team that actually put this work together here to answer your questions directly.
Yeah, I think while people are typing questions in, I'm really excited about the branding and Horizen, and it was really done so well. And we have a team that really has a whole group of people that takes on responsibility and gets things done. It's really exciting. I have a presentation I'm doing tonight at a local meetup at the Atlanta blockchain. Last time I looked, there was about 140 people signed up, and I have a couple of other meetups that I'm going to be presenting our new Horizen presentation at. I'm doing some travel next month, and Josh has scheduled me. We're planning to do a meetup in North Amsterdam in the Netherlands on Saturday, September 22nd, and I'm going to be in Budapest earlier that week and looking to do a meetup on Tuesday, September 18th or Thursday, September 20th. And I know Alex is working on talking to someone local there, but if there's anybody that's on the call that has some ties to Budapest, we'd love to hear from you. Rob, have you seen any questions? There's a lot more to how the logo was designed. We had that on our internal presentation. Could have gone on for about 5 to 10 minutes about the different elements. But we'll save that for a side discussion.
So here's kind of a general question about, what kinds of new projects might we consider, that are related to the new brand in the future. So I'd have to say this is more of a, something that we'll probably table until we're actually ready to announce other projects. So really, like we don't want to be, we're forward-looking in vision, but we don't want to be too forward-looking on promising things that we don't actually have scoped out on a project, actually working on right now.
That's a good point. One of the things that I'm doing in preparation for this presentation, y'all probably know that I'm more of a operational and get things done kind of guy. So there's a lot of use cases for privacy. And actually one of the biggest use cases for privacy is for businesses, in a lot of cases small and medium businesses. But you think about, and we experience this with the organization that we have, when you pay employees, well, you don't want people over time to be able to figure out what every other employee is earning. When you have client billing that you do, you don't want people over time to be able to find out who your clients are and how much you're billing them. So there's a whole element of privacy that goes into doing business that's essential. And so yes, that's one of the future markets that we're going after, and that involves integration with point of sale systems, integration with accounting systems, reporting, all sorts of things like that. So by focusing on the horizon, all sorts of things out there off in the distance that would have a use for privacy, and both a privacy cryptocurrency as well as a privacy platform, it certainly helps us to bring this to the business world. That's a longer term type thing, but yeah, it's always fun preparing for a presentation because you got to get ready for all the questions you're going to get asked.
Here's a question on the logo, or a statement, I should say. So the logo is so unchained to Zen. Anatoly, that is correct, and that was actually by design. So Zen is still part of our project, our heritage, but really the logo represents a different component of where we're going, what the project is all about. So the logo, the Horizen, represents innovation, being on the frontier of new ideas and bringing people together. These are the sentiments that are you know, what the logo was based on.
Yeah, and I'll step briefly away from talking about the brand and the logo. We are going to have an update or a decision on what we're going to do with the mining algorithm, whether we're going to change it or not, and that'll be by the end of the month, like we talked about last time. Today's about about Horizen, about what we're looking to do, and about our logo and brand expansion.
Let's see. Yeah, correct. So we have some other questions. I mean, just a practical question here of how much longer will current Z addresses be usable? So there's no plan here, guys, in changing Z address format or any address format. So everything is consistent there, and the project itself will be still the same.
Okay, let's see. Other questions? When's, let's see. We talked about new projects. I'll check the live dashboard. Yeah, some of the additional things that we're going to be doing to take advantage of the enhanced branding is be doing things on side chains, and the implementation of side chains. First, we're doing our own applications, which is the governance and treasury, then as well as the secure and supernode tracking and payment systems. So those are the first new applications, and going through the developments on those, then we're going to be able to expand to third-party applications onto the platform. And we'll be actively answering questions in the Reddit on the subreddit Horizen if you have more specific questions. Also, we'll of course be active in the Discord and on Telegram. And there's all sorts of things that we have to do to change our logo and name, and we'll go through and update those things. As we go through this process, y'all have a chance to see all the different integration elements that we have already, whether that's exchanges or point of sale systems or just all the other things that tie into Horizen and that need to be updated whenever a change is made.
Yeah, case in point there is we actually had a 50-point checklist that Rosario took the team through this morning, just to make sure that we were going through everything that needs to be done for this this new brand reveal. So there's so much going on behind the scenes, and if you don't see something perfect right now, it will be improved over time very quickly. So the team's working really hard.
Yeah, and so usability for person-to-person private transactions, and for businesses to be able to use it. We have the new wallets that are coming out on desktop and mobile. Those we've been working on those. Our development team's been working on those for a long time, going through the usability iteration aspects of it. They're more secure. They're lightweight. They're full wallets, and then they have the ability to, there's a lot of things that they have the ability to do that we don't have right now, and we're laying the groundwork for future updates to the protocol.
Definitely. So I'm not seeing anything else here, Rolf, related to the new brand. I don't know if anyone else has any last-minute questions, but otherwise we could probably call it quits here, almost exactly an hour in.
Yeah, I think that's great. So thanks everybody for participating. I saw that we had hit 350 live viewers at one point, which was awesome. And we're going through and updating all our social media type posts, names and things like that. They should transition over seamlessly, but if not, look for Horizen. So we're going to sign off here. Thanks everybody, and thanks to our awesome marketing team and Rosario and Lucy and the Brandtuitive. Rob, any last minute thoughts?
No, just thank you guys for joining us, and as always, go like our YouTube video, retweet, and get out there on social media and help spread the word. Be active.